Now, you use this phrase, a political passing of the buck, right?
Mm.
And I want to understand more from you what you meant. And, just to share a little experience of mine, I've traveled, this is the eighth, Maharashtra is the eighth state I've traveled through. And if there's one thing I'm convinced of, it's that the humanitarian crisis and the economic crisis that we are seeing unfold is way bigger. It's way, way, way bigger than anything that the virus can do to us. I think we have enough data, we have enough data that we can look at even in terms of the fatalities. When you say a political passing of the buck, what do you mean? Do you mean that the states are waiting for the center and the center is waiting for the states?
Well, the short answer is yes, because I think we have started off in March on the premise that if we were to shut down or lock down for 3 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, we are probably going to see the end of the virus. It has started from there. So we have started off in a very center-heavy, top-down fashion. What we can see is that when you have a lockdown that is porous, as this has been, because this has not been an absolute lockdown, then there is always a leakage of the infection and the virus continues to survive. In this situation, cases will rise. And with every passing day, with the media playing this up saying, yesterday was the highest, now today has superseded that, and tomorrow will be even higher, I think there is no face saving for the government that, as cases are rising and deaths are rising, how do you unlock? So what I see as a common person who is observing what is coming in the media and what is apparently being discussed between the center and the states is that the center or the prime minister, let's say, is waiting for chief ministers to take a stand. And chief ministers, particularly what one observes is the non-BJP chief ministers, are in turn the first to suggest an extension of the lockdown, almost as if they are baiting the prime minister to reverse their decision. So this is the game of ping pong, which seems to be going back and forth. Because as a citizen or as a business person, I am not hearing data and logic that, okay, if we were to flatten the curve, then we are 1.4 billion people, X percent of them are vulnerable. Out of that, even if 20% are to be protected, or we have to be ready in terms of medical infrastructure, that's probably like 50, 60 million people, as against which we have so many beds, so many nurses, so many ventilators. I mean, nobody's giving us any data or any logic. All they are discussing is whether it should be extended or not. And again, in a piecemeal, arbitrary, erratic fashion, train shuru hoga, band hoga, repatriation hoga, nahi hoga, quarantine hoga, nahi hoga. These are all pieces of the puzzle. These are all parts of the elephant. But nobody is speaking cohesively about the elephant at all. They are just passing the buck to each other. In fact, the only one who has stood up and made a point, I would say, is Arvind Kejriwal in Delhi. When Saturday before last, he said that, look, enough is enough. I've used this time to ready myself. Delhi is ready, come what may, and we have to learn to live with this virus, and we are going to move forward and unlock progressively. I mean, he's the only one that has made a cohesive, coherent, composite statement. I have not heard it from anywhere else.
Do you believe the lockdown was pointless? The 3 phases of the lockdown were pointless?
I think the lockdown was not well planned or executed for the following reasons. First of all, I continue to believe that we reacted by watching the West, which was really not relevant to us. Secondly, the virus does not kill zones. The virus kills people. The concern was about the elderly and the vulnerable. There should have been a very concerted attempt to identify the elderly and the immunocompromised or the vulnerable, as they say, and make sure that they are secured. It was really not necessary in a country where the average age is only 28 to have all these, let's talk about these migrants or contract workers, millions of them, probably in the age of 20 to 40 or 20 to 50 or so, being locked up. This was done ostensibly as I understand it, for two reasons. One is it is being said that, in India, everybody lives with their parents and grandparents and, it's all that sort of thing. So how can you ensure that the old are okay when they are living in the same house as the young? And, my point is, come on, give people that much credit, if somebody is smoking, he doesn't smoke in front of his father and blow smoke in his face. People know how to look after their own. And if somebody felt that he's not in a position to do that, he would not go to work. But for this reason, you have apparently 120 million jobless people at the end of 8 weeks. I think that's absolutely, ridiculous. So I think this is the first problem with this concept. And the second is, we have been told from the beginning that this is all being done to flatten the curve. Barkha, the math just doesn't add up. 1.4 billion people, if you put the math on it, what you will see is to flatten the curve means to create a medical infrastructure to probably deal with 4 or 5 million people every month. And still you would need a year's lockdown. So first of all, a year's lockdown is, I think, it's impossible, unrealistic. But where will we create that infrastructure? It is just by God's grace that we did not have those kind of deaths or those kind of serious symptomatic people. And therefore, my point is that we have actually, instead of flattening the curve, we have peaked the curve because we have kept everyone home. We have kept the young and the robust at home. We have kept the elderly and the immunocompromised at home. And now, however reluctantly, in some form or fashion, when we unlock, especially as we get closer to the monsoons, which brings its own dengues and diarrheas anyway, we are suddenly going to expose everybody all at the same time. And I am afraid that we are going to have a tsunami of a curve. Now, again, you and I are just laymen when it comes to understanding epidemics, but I would very much like to hear somebody competent in government or in some lab somewhere stand up and say, you are wrong and this is the reason you are wrong. We are waiting to hear such reassurance, but nobody is coming forward and saying anything.